Hey, it's Yusuf, Waterstone Gardens. Today, I want to show you how I designed this koi pond. Doing this in Structured Studios. Just a really quick basic design. Um, there's a lot of variations we can go from here. So I just want to show you a few quick tips that helped me make this process pretty quick, and uh, maybe it'll be useful for you if you're just starting off with a program and want to have a software like this to show your clients, because it's a great visualization tool. One of my favorite parts are these terrain tools. So we can just use this like paintbrush and raise it to any elevation we want. That's going to come in a lot more handy later. I don't like to do this as my primary method of terrain editing. Instead, with that, I like to do our contour lines. So we can put multiple, we can just draw them right on here. As we draw them, we can change the elevation. We'll make the house here 0. We'll do another 0 line there just to make sure that the building pad is, nice and level. And then let's have a hill going to the backyard. So we can put that in here. And let's raise that up a couple feet. So yeah, you can see a slope there. Put another 4 foot there. So after we got our contours, then we can start to draw our pool, which in this case is a pond. So I always do things in lines. Well, for the most part, we can always come back here and smooth them out, but it just kind of makes drawing a little more steady and precise. So then we can come and mess with our pool slope, but for the sake of this, let's just make it completely flat. So let's make it 3 foot deep even. Then we can mess with the height of the pool if we need to blend in the terrain. It'd be really useful if you're messing with tiers of streams. I like to turn the coping off there to make it really thin. But if you're doing some flagstones around, that might be useful for you. So then the next step here would be to go with these pool benches and steps. So this is a really useful feature, and I find it's the best for terraces. So we can just click them in there, and then we can change our measurements of them. If we want them wider, if we want them deeper, we can do all of that. So there's a lot of fine tuning you can do. You're not restricted just to the even things. You can do some complex slopes and geometries in the pond too. But for this example, let's just try and keep it a little bit simple. So we'll just do 2 steps. So this is what it looks like in 3D. We can see our terraces in here. Next, we can think about our waterfall coming into it. We can just do a spa here. Really only the difference is the complex slopes on the bottom. So let's just make it 5 inches even. Again, you could mess with different depths in here and terrace your streams if you want a deeper pool, but we're just gonna keep it simple, smooth it out a little bit. And then you take a look at it in 3D. It's really rough, right? But the shape started to be there. I always raise the water level up on these to make them, as high as possible. We'll add in another one here for another stream feeding into it. Just do a little fine tuning here. Then when we take a look in 3D, the basic shape of this pond is starting to unfold, but it still doesn't look very realistic. So we can use our terrain brush to kind of smooth out those edges. This is really my favorite use of the tool. But next we need our rocks. So there's a lot of rocks in this program. I like to insert multi. You click one because then it kind of twists them a little bit, sort of randomizes it. And then I like to do them by level. So these are going to be for the bottom of the pond. So making them all around here. And then when we're done, we'll group them. And then we'll be able to raise and lower the elevation. I do it in 2D just because it's faster most of the time. So we're grouping them. We can change the elevation, jump over into 3D. Oh, it made those a little too low. So we can just lift them right up, but still not perfect. So we gotta adjust them. And so we can rotate them around just like, we're building a pond. We don't just put a rock as it falls. We kind of twist it, move it around, and then we just repeat the process. So sometimes they don't fit, get rid of them, get a new one in there. You can use the rocks if they're the same color to kind of make like a bigger rock if you want. This is just a real rough, simple waterfalls. Is pretty quick. You spend more time doing nicer ones, but then we'll throw in our water flow, right? You can't have a waterfall without the water moving over the rocks. So we can put these in, and they can be a little tricky to see on screen sometimes. But you got a lot of adjustment tools here. You know, we can change the height to make it precise, to make it like, you know, a 1/4 inch above the water line. And then we can change how far it's traveling, how wide it is. So we can flip it around and then move it into place. Sometimes easier said than done. Move that up, didn't do that. So yeah, just move it into place. Looks decent enough. So before I put the other stream in here, I want to adjust that rock a little bit, cover up that spillway. We can paste in the other waterfall there, and then we can do our adjustments. That might be a little too wide, so yeah, just do some little tweaking. And then we can repeat this process on the top part. And sooner or later, it starts to look like you got a natural waterfall. But as we all know, a pond isn't complete without the landscaping. The landscaping and the plants, they really bring it all together. So Structured Studios has all sorts of videos on how to do the landscaping. Maybe not so much on ponds, that's why I'm making this video. But we can just outline our existing patio to start to make our mulch. And we can skip forward. And there we go, we got a mulch bed. So next we start to add in some plants, and there you go. So this isn't the most groundbreaking design ever. This was more meant to be just a really quick demonstration on how this works and some of the elevation tools that can be done in this program. Hopefully it helps you if you're just starting off with a program to envision how ponds might come into play, especially when we're dealing with slope terraces. So have fun designing.